Yeah, all right. So let's do some Trower. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Trower, if you like Hendrix, chances are you're going to love Trower. He's freaking epic, killer phrasing. And I saw him like a year ago, and he's like 347 years old, and he still rips. So any of you who get a chance to go see him, he's still great. I mean, really awesome, totally worth it. And also check the channel if you like the the selections, the Trower, the Hendrix, all that stuff. There's tons and tons of videos at Papa Stash 102. So let's get started with Bridge of Sighs. It's tuned kind of weird on the album. So when we get into the lesson, I'll give you a little how to tune. All right. So the song, like I said, was kind of in between E flat and E. So let's tune our low E to this. Again. And I'll do the A too. All right. Now there's a really cool effect, which is known as a univibe, on this song as well. So I'm going to kick on the vibe. Yeah. All right. Instant stoniness. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The beginning, it's basically in an E minor pentatonic. So what it starts off doing is trilling on this D string 2nd fret. Now, all you have to do the trill is just a hammer on and a pull off to open. And make sure you're right on your fingertip and you can get that speed up. Now, you can also claw the other strings, mute with your palm and your strings here to mute out all the other string noise. So you just get the... Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit an open E string. And you can either pick 1 to 2 on the A, or you can slide. So you're going to go. And what I'm doing there is I am barring with my pinky, or you can use your 3rd finger, the B and E string 3rd fret. So we got... Now you're going to hit the low E. So what you're going to do there is you hit the low E back to that 3rd fret B and G. And then you're going to bend the B and the G a half step. And then you're going to go to low E, the B note on the 2nd fret A string, and then open B and E. So all together we got. Now we're going to slide up. So we're going to slide up to the 9th fret on the D. Then we're going to pick the 7th fret of the G and the 8th fret of the B. And then hit the E note on the G and give it a wide vibrato. So we got... So slide in. Right? And then the next riff is... So very similar to the first riff. Right? Same kind of pattern. So he just kind of fluctuates in between, or just, and then, you know, it's very similar. He just goes back and forth. You'll be able to hear the difference. I'm not going to spend time doing every different inflection that he does. That is the basic premise of what he's doing. Now the next riff, you're going to slide up on the 7th fret of the G. So you're going to go 7 to 5 on the B. So you got start on the 7G, 5B. You're going to do that riff twice. And now you're going to go to 6 on the G to 5 on the D. So you got... Now we'll spend some time doing the little different riffs that he does through the verse. Now remember, it's just different. Sometimes he doesn't climb up, he'll just go. Sometimes he doesn't hit the, he'll just go. Right? So just listen and you'll be able to pick up the different inflections that he does. That is the basic shape and basic framework of how he does the tune. So let's get on to some of those little riffs during the verse. All right, the next riff is the... All right, and then you can also do the pickup selector. Right, so all you're doing there is you're just getting your pickup selector, if you have a Strat or a Tele or whatever, and just shaking it back and forth while you're holding the bend. Okay, so all you're doing there is you're going open E, pull off on the B 3rd fret to 0, and then bend up the G 2nd fret. Altogether it's... Again. Alright, let's go to the next riff. Next riff, you're going to slide up to the 3rd position pentatonic, G string, 7th fret, then you're going to go to the 5th fret of the B string, 8th fret of the B, back to the 5th. And the timing goes. Now on the end of all these riffs, Trower has a really, really great vibrato. So really, one thing I'll mention really quick on vibrato is what made vibrato easier for me is getting out of the habit of making it a finger motion like this. And I use my thumb and right here on my hand as a pivot point. And I rock my wrist like this, and I keep my finger, whatever finger I'm doing the vibrato, stiff. Even though it's bent, it's not going like this. It's stiff, and I'm using my wrist as the pivot point. And my wrist is what actually does the vibrato, not my finger. Now you can try to do that. It's much harder, though. So use your thumb as a pivot point, the bottom of your hand. So you got this part and this part of your hand as a pivot point, and then you rock with your fingers stiff. And that allows you to get a really smooth, wide vibrato. Right? Okay, so a little tip on vibrato. Alright, so that next riff is a very similar one to the one in the beginning. So it's the same thing, open E, pull off on the 3rd of the B to open, and you're going to bend up twice, and then shake the vibrato. So you got into the opening riff again. Alright, now one thing to keep in mind is there's always easier ways to do these fingerings, but I found Trower likes to slide up into the middle register of the guitar to do these riffs. Rather than, right? He'll do... So that next riff, we're going to slide up to the 9th fret, the E note, to the D note on the G. Now we're going to go 8th fret to 5th fret. All right, one more time. All right, this next riff's a little hard for me to hear, so I think it's something like this. You're going to slide up to the 3rd fret on the B, and then hit open E, and then a little trill. So we got... All right, so again, slide up. And a trill just like the beginning on the D string. This next riff is the intro to the chorus. We're going to go open G, slide up to the 4th fret. We got the 5th fret of the B, the 3rd fret of the B. Now you can also do that same riff, slide, hit open E, however you want to do it. And that brings us into the chorus riff. Now the chorus, what we're going to do is we're going to go like you're doing an E chord basically, but we're going to move everything up a fret and up a set of strings. So if you do, imagine just an E major chord, move it up a fret and up a set of strings. So we have 3rd fret, and then we have the 2nd fret D. And then you're going to play down to the B string to A. And then we're going to do a G with our thumb like a Hendrix style. Okay, so far we got to G. And then we're going to hit the G note up here on the E string. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit G, open A, 1st fret, 2nd fret, and then put your 1st finger down on the D string 1st fret. Back to this E style chord. Back to the B style. And then add your pinky to make it like a B chord basically. So you can hit, which would be 2nd fret, 1st fret on the D, and you can use on the G 4th fret, or you can bar to make it like a B chord, D and G 4th fret. Back in the beginning. Right, now he does a whole nother verse, a big solo, blah, blah, blah. We don't have time for all that, but that'll get you through the first verse. It's all in E minor pentatonic, so you can just improvise. Right, or do whatever you want to do. And then on the way out, he does one other riff that kind of goes, repeats over and over again. So, okay, so the next riff's going to start on D, 2nd fret, and we're going to go to the 4th fret and then slide into the 5th fret, all on the D string. And then we're going to go up here to the 5 and the 7 of the A. And then we're going to go to the D and bend down to 5, bend it down a little bit, and hammer on from 5 to 7 on the A. So again, really slow we got. Now in the live version, he just does different variations of this riff, but it's very similar. Right? So it's going to be the same notes, just a little different inflections. So check that out. You know, I really highly recommend going through with Trower and watching a lot of his different live footage. He's like Hendrix. He never does the same thing twice, but you get really good ideas. Oh, like, oh, I would have never thought of that. Trower especially, what I've noticed is he takes the same notes you might hear, but he plays them in different shapes in the pentatonic scale in different spots than most people would play them. So he gets a really different tones and really cool riffs because he plays in different areas, like I said, of the pentatonics, different parts of the scale, and most people don't use. So I would really highly recommend watching, 4 or 5 videos from, way back in the 70s to present day. And it's just awesome. He's really amazing, and I highly, highly recommend if you guys like Hendrix or, that kind of really spooky blues per se, check out Trower. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's just awesome, and I'm going to do a bunch more of his tunes. So, hope you like it. As always, check the channel. I'm totally grateful for everyone and all the support, all the great comments. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. I'm totally having a blast. So, hundreds of more videos on the way. All right, have a good one.